Only thing Sunny was missing while she was talking with her shower flat hair, because dude didn't have suave, was a pair of high heels walking down the hallway with guys like me going, oh, shit, sorry. They all did the walk of shame. That's what they all did.
The View co-host Sunny Hostin made another attempt to stifle conservative opinions. Because Tyrus was once a wrestler and a contributor to Fox News, she made fun of his appearance and job, claiming that he was unable to discuss important topics. Tyrus didn't waste any time. He retaliated by criticizing The View's hypocritical portrayal of open-mindedness, while continuously disparaging anyone who don't share their viewpoint. Greg Gutfeld then said that Sunny has no right to cast doubt on anyone's veracity. Both of them noted how the viewpoint has shifted from genuine debate to self-righteous ranting. Sunny's qualifications seem to begin and end with her rolling her eyes and interrupting guests in the middle of their sentences. Gutfeld even remarked, "Let's first examine the scandal that started the entire circus before moving on to the decade's biggest roast."
Criminal case now, the prosecutors are like, oh, really? Well, how about we add some additional fraud charges onto you? And they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud, which I would say you could get about 20 years in prison. So that's a death sentence for him.
Well, never mind all that stuff, because COVID also taught Sunny Hostin how to get her groceries delivered. Yeah, I know, amazing. But that means it's time for...
Living your life and you're feeling low. You don't know what is true. You don't know what's true. So you quick flip through the channels to watch Sunny on The View. Oh my God, the stuff she says is dumb. Where the hell they get this woman from? She's a host who's always crass and lame, with lots of nonsense to proclaim.
A real-life courtroom drama was taking place in her home while Sunny Hostin was occupied giving legal lectures on The View. In one of the biggest RICO cases in New York's history, her spouse was named. The lawsuit claims that a vast network of physicians, attorneys, clinics, and so-called runners conspired to utilize insurance companies to file fictitious or inflated injury claims.
Surgeon and husband for The View host Sunny Hostin has been named in a federal lawsuit alleging insurance fraud.
Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation.
The documents contain Dr. Hostin's name, where he is charged with involvement in the money grab. The goal of the prosecution is to hold him responsible for masterminding a sophisticated fraud scheme. Suddenly, Sunny's well-preserved persona as the legal queen of The View started to crumble. While her own husband is mentioned in a federal case that has nearly $500 million at risk, Sunny, who once questioned guests about their lack of integrity, remains silent. If she hadn't established herself as the moral compass of daytime television, this silence wouldn't be so deafening. And the hypocrisy is most noticeable there. It has nothing to do with innocence or guilt. Consistency is key. When the elephant in the room shows up at your front door, shouldn't you at least address it if you're going to be the voice of moral authority? Don't worry though. Tyrus and Gutfeld had a lot to say about her.
How is somebody allowed on TV who has to read their answers and doesn't read good?
Yeah.
Watching her read her producer's thoughts on the Pope was brutal. I don't know why they keep calling her Sunny. She's cloudy. Like, she's one of the dumbest human beings that we've ever...
Sunny, I bet you haven't been in a supermarket since COVID for about 3 years.
I haven't been in a supermarket since COVID. For about 3 years. That's when I discovered Instacart, and I give them a big tip because they don't always pay their people well, and it's so that's been an issue I think for the company. But man, you can get toiletries, you can get fire logs. You know those big Bounty towels you don't want to carry. Those from Costco. Somebody else goes.
Fire logs? She had to tell the audience that she tips big because even she knows she sounds insufferable. Hey, I'm an but at least I tip. This dame probably virtue signals on the toilet.
Greg Gutfeld's show didn't waste any time. He jumped right in, claiming that Sunny shattered the record and won gold if hypocrisy were an Olympic sport. He made fun of the silence, asking how someone who is so outspoken about other people's legal issues can suddenly remain quiet when it occurs in her own neighborhood. This was more than a controversy. As Gutfeld noted, it was everything Sunny has claimed to oppose. At least for the part where Sunny's family name appears in a federal indictment, he asserted that The View ought to be renamed The Mute. Tyrus, in the meantime, arrived with verbal flamethrowers and did not spare any arrogant detail.
A debt of gratitude. Hannity has the footballs. We need a game ball. Because the game ball to this election goes to Sunny Hostin. Because if it wasn't for her asking that question that she practiced so many times and she was so professional when she read it for a little, so is there anything that you would do differently than Biden? And the drunkest answer ever. No, nothing really comes to mind.
Tyrus destroyed the moral superiority of The View. He criticized the typical arrogant tone of the presentation. Sunny, who frequently gives speeches about morality and being, on the correct side of history, abruptly made the decision to hold off until the facts were known. Sunny, who has a reputation for interrupting others in order to deliver her judgment in a rambling fashion, is now advocating for due process. Tyrus posed the question that was on everyone's mind when she was attacking people who didn't share her political views. Where was this energy? Additionally, he took the opportunity to criticize the elitist mindset that permeates The View. Tyrus referred to it as a media bubble that is so dense people can no longer hear themselves. And he didn't raise his voice. True to typical Tyrus fashion, he delivered lines like, "Interesting how fast the justice system becomes sacred when it's knocking on your door." Her co-hosts fled like they had just seen a ghost, as Sunny ducked questioning. Being silent wasn't enough in this situation. It was deliberate silence. Suddenly, there were no talking points for the same show that turns every political headline into a moral crisis.
You have a legal note. I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism.
Fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Those hens are always clucking. They get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, and then I get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, except on purpose. But every now and then, one of those dingbats inadvertently says something that reveals modern liberal thought so perfectly, it deserves further study. You know, like a weird serpent that washed up on the beach and you want to poke it with a stick.
And the price of butter. Sunny gets the game ball. If it wasn't for her, if it wasn't for her asking that question, it might have been a closer election. But when oh no, nothing really comes to mind, I was like, ching. Listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled.
Sunny Hostin was the main course, as supporters turned the matter into a full-fledged online debate while The View calmed down. Hey, Sunny, maybe you should add your husband to that list the next time you call Donald Trump a felon, someone replied. Sunny Hostin never showed me any mercy or respect for anyone, another person remarked. It appears to be ready to come back to haunt her. Back to Tyrus and Gutfeld now. Sunny, here's a contrast for you.
Comparison for you, Sunny. You're dumber than Sorry.
Greg Gutfeld took the opportunity to highlight the media's selective outrage. He pointed out that women like Sunny Hostin, who are quick to demand accountability from others, suddenly develop institutional forgetfulness when the spotlight turns to their own families. With his trademark dry humor, Tyrus reminded viewers of Sunny's past lectures on justice, morality, and the rule of law. The same woman who criticized countless public figures now responds with deflection and silence. Tyrus quipped that The View might need to clean its own house first. The irony deepens. Sunny Hostin has publicly scrutinized political spouses for years, yet when her own husband faces serious allegations, she pivots to calls for privacy and grace. The contrast between her current silence and past outspokenness is stark, and viewers aren't buying it. To make matters worse, the nature of the charges is serious. With investigations ongoing, Sunny's reputation is taking a hit. Many now wonder if The View can still claim moral high ground given the panel's silence. Whether Sunny recovers or this scandal lingers remains to be seen. One thing's for sure, Tyrus and Greg just delivered the roast of the year. What do you think? Is silence Sunny's new legal strategy, or will she finally address the scandal? Let us know in the comments. See you next time.